Hey, it's Ariel from the Tesla Ariel channel, and today I'm going to be answering some questions. So I printed off a few of your questions, and I'm going to be answering them. So I will leave the best question for last. It's pretty much the summary of all the myths of owning an electric car and driving an electric car. So first question is from Internet Dude. Okay, hey Internet Dude. He's a fellow Tesla owner from Regina, Saskatchewan. Hey Ariel, why don't you have your subscriber count public? By default, it is. That was an airplane. Yes, thank you for that feedback. I will make my subscriber account public. So it's public now. You should be able to see it. So thank you very much, Internet Dude. I have my next question from Den13. So that's DENNN 13. Do you have to pay for your Tesla data monthly? And is your data provided by a telecommunications company like AT&T, Verizon, and let me translate that to Canadian, Rogers, Bell, TELUS, or directly from Tesla itself? Just curious. Thank you. So again, Den13, thank you very much for that question. Short answer to the first question you have, if I have to pay my Tesla data monthly, is no. So we do not have a monthly fee that we have to pay. It is included in the price of the car. So there's no additional monthly fee. And the data, I would suppose it's provided by a telecommunications company. I don't know the hard and fast answer, but what I know is when we do not have cellular data on our phones, our car does not have the data either. That might be the answer to the question. The next question, Josiah Wid. You're Filipino? I am Filipino. Oo, kabayan. Pilipino ako. Kumusta? Aeroplano. Airplane. Yes, so I'm Filipino, you see? I wear it proud. Peace. So yes, I'm Filipino-Canadian. I immigrated to Canada in 2008 when I was 20 years old. So do the math. I'm 29 now. I'm turning 30 next month. So yes, I'm Filipino-Canadian. I'd like to give a shout out to my subscriber and Facebook friend now, Romel Tomas from Taytay, Rizal. So, hi Romel. So I'm going to the next feedback. Mr. Singh says, everything is good. I like the content, but please improve audio. So I hope the audio has improved. I got this lavalier mic, so hopefully it's better now. So I hope that my past few videos, I think my past 4 or 5 videos already have this improved audio from my lavalier mic. Thank you for your feedback. That helped convince my wife to let me get this lavalier microphone. Okay, so my next question is from Silly Media. So Silly Media asked, how much money is driving a Tesla for 1,000 kilometers in terms of power? I want to compare that with a Ford Focus on gas. So thank you for your question, Silly Media. I don't know what your consumption will be on your Ford Focus, because there are many different types of Ford Focuses, Foci. I can share with you my experience with the Tesla Model S. So averaging 180 watt-hours per kilometer, so that's 0.18 kilowatt-hours per kilometer, multiplying that by 1,000 kilometers, that gives us 180 kilowatt-hours. So that's the unit of energy, kilowatt-hours. So I'm not sure about where you are from, but where I am from here in Alberta, it's around 11 cents per kilowatt hours, including distribution charges. So it costs me $19.80 to drive my 1,000 kilometers. So I hope that answers the question. But remember, if you use the supercharger network for long distances, like where I am right now, this is our closest supercharger in Cross Iron Mills. My wife is getting some stuff from the mall while I record this video outside. So let's say you're going to travel a long distance. If you are going to go on long distances, you're only going to pay from your own pocket your initial charging. So you're only going to pay for 400 kilometers of those. So it's around $7.92 or around $8 of your own electricity. The rest will be on Tesla, so it will be via the supercharger network. So that's pretty economical, airplane. So yeah, $8 of your own electricity for 400 kilometers. So But if you're going to just drive around town, your 1,000 kilometers, yeah, that'll cost you $19.80. And the Tesla Model S pulled in. I don't know about the Ford Focus, but we have another vehicle. It is a Toyota Prius C. It does 5 liters per 100 kilometers. So doing the math, it costs, you would need 50 liters to drive that 1,000 kilometers. So 50 liters of gas at $1 per liter of gas. It will cost me $50 of gasoline to drive my Prius 1,000 kilometers. So yeah, it costs me half as much to drive my Tesla than it is for me to drive the most fuel-efficient car powered by gas that doesn't have a plug on the planet. So at least at this point, the most fuel-efficient gasoline-powered car without a plug. I hope that answers your question, silly media. My next question is from my viewer named Pat K. Okay, so pretty much this summarizes the myths of owning an electric car. The myth that electric cars are worse for the environment. Okay, and so it goes. I'm just reading this word per word. It's thousands times worse to produce a electric car that ironically running off the power grid that is mainly supported by coal. Those precious batteries your car needs to go is one of the biggest environmental hazards on Earth. They are first mined, then sent on a massive tanker that gets 700 gallons to the mile to be refined and then shipped again to China to be made, then shipped again, but into the car. And when it's time to pitch, I think he meant ditch, that battery, where does the ion lithium go? Into the landfill. They have done many studies and it's more environmentally friendly to drive an older used car or truck than to buy a new one. Okay, so in summary, you have made 4 points. So first of all, thank you for that comment, and it allowed me the opportunity to answer that by making this video. So you have made 4 points, okay? And before I continue with my explanation, I'll let you know that long ago I learned that arguing leads nowhere, okay? But I can tell you this, one of your 4 points are correct, and on one of them, let's call it even. Point number 1, it's 1,000 times worse to produce an electric car is incorrect. Twice or thrice is more accurate. So it's actually worse to produce an electric car than a comparable gasoline-powered car. However, as you run it, it becomes more environmentally friendly depending on the grid you power your car from. So even in the dirtiest of all power grids, in, let's say, I'm not sure where it's all coal. Is it Vermont? I forgot. But let's assume that it's 100% coal. So in Alberta, where I am from, it's mostly natural gas, majority natural gas, and partly coal, but that coal portion is shrinking. Energy companies such as Suncor, they have been investing heavily in wind power, and renewable sources are increasing every year. The more you drive an electric car, it becomes more, it pays off that debt. Airplane again. It pays off that carbon debt it has on production. So the break-even point for impact, let's say in a semi-fossil and renewable grid, it's somewhere between 80,000 to 100,000 kilometers. So that's 50 to 60,000 miles-ish. So it really depends on how much you drive in terms of the payback period for your carbon footprint. In my case, the payback period is ultra quick because I tend to drive a lot. Right now, I'm at 51,000 kilometers in just 9.5 months of EV ownership. So my break-even point would be just around a year and a half, tops. Yeah, so point number 1, I hope I shed some light on this topic. Point number 2, mined and shipped via a massive tanker, yada, 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 shipped to China to be made. So Tesla is going to produce these batteries in North America. So they're building this gigafactory. So now in the gigafactory, it's going to be local. So all cars have parts shipped by tankers anyway, you know. Now let's talk about the fuel. The fuel is shipped. Like, I know Alberta, we produce our own like fuel and gasoline. But for other countries that use like fossil fuels, let's say Europe, majority of Europe doesn't produce and is a consumer. China is a consumer. Petroleum is shipped via massive tankers, and they're primarily from terrorist harboring nations. I'm not being politically correct here. Electricity, on the other hand, okay, it's produced locally right where you are for the most part, unless you're importing electricity, but it can't go too far. So, for example, here where I'm from in Alberta, the electricity produced from these superchargers is taken from local sources. So, the power grid is a big employer, and I have friends who work for the power corporations. And by supporting your local power producers, like whatever resource it is, you are supporting your local community in terms of supporting the energy generation in the local community. So yes, I support Alberta energy generation, whatever the source is. So for this point, let's call it even between ICE and electric car. Your point number 3, to the landfill, okay, that is incorrect. Okay, well, if you physically take a battery and take it to the landfill, what can you do, right? But if you recycle it properly, after their usable life as a car battery, now we're entering into a new phase where we are able to store our power. So we have home energy storage solutions. Let's say Tesla Powerwall, Nissan is coming out with their, hopefully, a new battery. Lots of home battery manufacturers are coming out. Basically, these are recycled and you're able to use these parts over and over again. So your point number 4, it's more environmentally friendly to drive an older used car or truck than to buy a new one. Okay, that point is correct. By continuing to use your existing car over and over again, you're not incurring more carbon debt on a new one. You will not have any carbon footprint on a new product or on a new material. So in this case, it's best to maximize the use of existing products, but here in places where I live, there's winter for 4 to 6 months of the year, sometimes 7 months of the year. They use salt on roads, and cars get rusty after exposure to lots of salt. And if your car is rusty, a lot of it, like your suspension gets rusty, and you can't really drive them, and they're not really safe and roadworthy after some time. Like older cars that rust out, they're really dangerous, and you don't really want to drive a rust bucket, right? So I personally have a rusty 1997 Ford F-150. I don't daily drive it, as I have my Tesla to do that daily driving, but it still serves a purpose. And I can't financially justify buying a brand new truck just to do dump runs and hauling my jet ski around a half dozen times a year. On the other hand, I can't daily drive that Ford F-150 because I can't justify spending $900 a month on fuel and maintenance, and yeah, that thing does like 10 miles to the gallon or 20 liters per 100. I don't know what the conversion is, but it's expensive to run that thing, man. So I can't spend that money on fuel and just maintenance, and it left us stranded 3 times. So it's not reliable anymore. So let's agree to disagree, okay? I can't change you, you won't change my opinion. It's useless, okay? But let me tell you this. Let's reconvene in 20 years, okay? And let's talk again. Have a good day, sir. There you have it. That's my Q&A for the day. So I hope I have shed some light on your questions. And if you have any more questions, please ask me in the comment section below. I'd be more than happy to answer all your questions. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you liked it, please click the thumbs up. If you haven't already, follow me on Instagram. Link is in the video description below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.